Can running make you happier? Let's dive into the research and find out. Hello, fellow geeks, and welcome back to Running Geek Girl. My name is Heather, and I am glad you are here today. Now, in a recent video, I asked if you would be interested in some of the research that I found on the link between running and mental health, and quite a few of you said that you would like to see that information, so let's talk a little bit about this today. Now, to start off with, the research that I looked into was from several scientific journals where there were a group of researchers here in the United States that decided that they were going to compile data from around the world to see if there was definitely a link between running and better mental health. And so they weren't just looking at runners in the United States, they were looking at runners in the US, Canada, the UK, Hong Kong, Sweden. It was literally a global effort. And so you can see that not only is this something that could affect runners depending on where they live, but these are global results that they were able to compile. So let's dive into some of the things that they found that were repeated with runners around the world. We're going to start with the short-term benefits that they found of a regular running routine. Now, you're familiar with the emotional boost that comes from when you run. We call that the runner's high. Those are your feel-good emotions that just kind of make you feel good, that reduce your stress, and there was considerable evidence to show that running could produce positive mental health benefits just in the short term. In fact, a review analysis of 116 studies that were published in 2020 looked at the relationship between running and mental health and found that running improved the mood in research subjects who participated in runs of lots of intensities and lots of different lengths, including just one bout of running. If you just went out for one run, they were able to find a boost just from that. For a long time, researchers were kind of rallying around the idea that that was because running would release endorphins, and we've heard that over and over again. But further research has shown that endorphins don't pass from the blood into the brain, but they do help you prevent the sensation of pain being felt in the muscles. So it's not so much just your brain all of a sudden getting that rush of endorphins, it's that endorphins are being released into your blood and suddenly your muscles feel relieved. It's that rush of relief that makes us feel good in our brains. I also found it interesting that current research that is going on right now is finding that there is a biochemical substance known as an endocannabinoid, and that causes the feeling of euphoria that we commonly associate with a runner's high. An endocannabinoid is a cannabis-type substance that is naturally produced by the body. So those are just the quick short-term benefits of running and mental health. So let's look at some of the longer-term mood benefits of running. Now, there's evidence that engaging in exercise such as running may help alleviate symptoms of mood and anxiety disorders. The review that was done in 2020 noted that longer-term running interventions of up to about 20 weeks were associated with improvements in a range of mental health outcomes. Runners experienced lower levels of depression and anxiety and greater psychological well-being, more so than their non-running counterparts. Also, going all the way back to research done in 2016, they found that lower levels of cardiorespiratory fitness were associated with greater risk of depression. And the next year, a 2017 study found that exercise improved mood and increased calmness compared to those who don't exercise regularly, which only increased feelings associated with agitation. Another thing that the study found was that exercise was moderately more effective than no therapy for reducing depressive symptoms. They found, however, that exercise was no more effective than antidepressants. So you can't use exercise in place of antidepressants or in place of therapy or any other type of treatment for depression or anxiety, but you can use it in order to supplement whatever treatments you are going through in order to help greater affect the calming effects on your body. Running or jogging is no substitute for a professional diagnosis or treatment of your mental health condition. Additional research is still needed to determine the exact impact on the prevention and treatment of psychological conditions. And because depression is characterized by low energy and loss of interest in previously enjoyed activities, people that have depression may find it more difficult to stay motivated to run. So you're going to need to turn to other forms of treating your depression if you want to keep up the momentum and run in order to help the depression. It's all part of this great little circle of life. It all has to work hand in hand together in order to improve your mood. Now, I mentioned earlier that in that 2020 review, when they were looking at all of these results, that they found that there were a whole lot of different areas of mental health that running could help with. So let's talk a little bit about some of those areas. The first of which is stress management. Running can control stress and boost your body's ability to deal with mental tension, and it increases concentration of norepinephrine, which is a chemical that helps moderate your brain's response to stress. The second is going to be exposure to vitamin D. Just being outdoors in the sun helps your body produce vitamin D, which helps lessen your likelihood of experiencing depressive symptoms. The third is prevention of cognitive decline. Running does not cure Alzheimer's, but it can help boost the brain's ability to minimize and slow cognitive decline that begins after the age of 45. Working out between the ages of 25 and 45 helps boost the chemicals in the brain that supports and prevents degeneration of the hippocampus, which is the part of your brain that you use for memory and learning. Physical activities like running or brisk walking can also promote cellular growth in the brain, which helps prevent cognitive decline. Exercise is one of the big factors associated with the growth of new neurons in the brain, which is a process known as neurogenesis. And a 2012 study that was published in Neurology found that older adults with greater levels of physical activity increased white and gray matter density, less atrophy, and reduced white matter lesions, which are common biomarkers that are associated with aging. So if you want a younger brain, go for a run. Next was a calmer state of mind. The chemicals that are released during and after a run can help people that experience anxiety feel calmer. Whether you're on a treadmill, a track, a trail, a sidewalk, just moving is a healthy way of coping with stress in your life. The next effect that they noticed was a boost of brain power. Evidence suggests that running can have a unique benefit for the brain. Now, in a study that compared participants who engaged in interval running versus those who participated just in a physically active lifestyle, the runners showed greater increase in cognitive flexibility. Running improves your ability to change between mental tasks quickly and efficiently. Being more cognitively flexible means that when faced with a problem, you have the ability to quickly switch gears, adapt to change, and come up with a new plan of action. Think about how many times you've been out on a run and suddenly the weather changes on you, or you realize that maybe something that you're doing isn't working. You're looking and maybe your pace is too fast or too slow. You're having to make decisions on the fly in order to improve your running efficiency. So a lot of these changes just give your brain greater strength, and you can transfer that energy into other areas of your life. The next effect that they noticed was help with sleep. For some, a moderate run can be the equivalent of a sleeping pill, even for people with insomnia. Moving around 5 to 6 hours before bedtime can raise your body's core temperature, and then the body temperature drops back to normal a few hours later, so it signals your body that it's time to sleep. A 2011 study looked at data from more than 3,000 adults from the 2005-2006 National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey to assess the relationship between physical activity and sleep. The researchers determined that participants who met physical activity guidelines were 65% less likely to experience daytime fatigue compared to subjects who did not get regular exercise. And in addition to that, a 2012 study of about 50 adolescents found that the subjects who ran for 30 minutes in the morning slept better and saw an improvement in their moods after 3 weeks compared to the non-running control group. Researchers concluded that regular physical activities needs to be encouraged to promote quality of sleep and improve well-being. And speaking of which, the next effect that they looked at was overall self-esteem. Researchers found that physical activities like running and jogging are directly related to better self-esteem. Regular exercise leads to improved perceptions of fitness and body image, both of which are linked to self-esteem. The review done in 2020 analyzed studies that included only runners and compared different levels and different types of running, and some of the studies showed a positive association with higher self-identity with lower levels of depression. And studies that investigated marathon training showed a positive relationship with self-esteem and psychological coping. Being able to take a look back at how far you've come as far as your mileage, your speed, your time, or just your overall running ability can really be highly motivating and build your confidence. And finally, finally, they noticed that there was a link between increased productivity and running. Research found that workers who took time for exercise on a regular basis were more productive and had more energy than their peers who were less active. Now, we know that everybody has a busy life. Everyone has a busy schedule. Life just happens. It can be really tough to squeeze in a gym session in the middle of the day, but a lot of experts believe that midday is the ideal time for a workout due to the body's circadian rhythm. But if you are not able to do it in the middle of the day, just fitting in 30 minutes for exercise any time of the day is going to be absolutely huge in increasing your overall productivity. There were also further effects that were noted about how running can help benefit those who are neurodivergent, like myself. If you would like some more information about that, if you'd like me to do a video about the link between neurodivergence and running, let me know down in the comments below. So let's talk a little bit about how you can benefit. What does it take to be a runner and to benefit in these ways in order to improve your mental health? Well, research shows that physical activity like even just regular walking, not just formal exercise programs, can help you improve your mood. Physical activity and exercise are not the same thing, but they're both beneficial to your health. So what's the difference between the two? Physical activity is any activity that works your muscles and requires energy, and that can include work or household or leisure activities. Exercise is planned, it's structured, and it's repetitive body movement done to improve or maintain physical fitness. So if I said the word exercise, you may think about running laps, you may think about going to the gym. Exercise can be a whole range of activities that boost your activity level that helps you feel better. So running, lifting weights, playing basketball, other fitness things, anything that's going to get your heart rate up is definitely going to help. But physical activity, just like gardening, washing your car, walking around the block, engaging in less intense activities than running, those can also help. Anything that gets you up off the couch and moving helps improve your mood, and they were able to find this across the board. And you don't have to do all of your exercise or your physical activity at the same time. So find ways to add small amounts of physical activity through your days in order to benefit from this. For example, take stairs instead of the elevator, park a little farther away from work to fit in a short walk. If you live close to your job, maybe you can ride a bike to your work. Just doing 30 minutes of activity or more every day for 3 to 5 days a week significantly improves depression and anxiety symptoms. But even smaller amounts of physical activities, just 10 or 15 minutes at a time, can still make a difference. It takes less time exercising to improve your mood when you do more vigorous activities like running or bicycling. So just like the link between running and walking, you found that weight loss occurs more quickly with running than it does for walking, but it can happen with both. You can see improvements in mental health in both running and in less intense physical activities. You're going to see better improvements in mental health the more vigorous your activity is. But the big thing to remember is that this mental health benefit is going to last if you stick with it over the long term. So it's very important that you find physical activities that you enjoy. Now, you're probably here because you're like me and you do enjoy running. And that's why I'm Running Geek Girl. So I have found something that I enjoy. But running, I realize, is not for everyone. Some people are more comfortable with walking. Some people are more comfortable with swimming or with biking. Find something that really appeals to you and make that your physical activity. What's important is just getting out there and getting it done at least 15 to 30 minutes, and you're going to see some definite benefits with your mental health. So there you go. There is just a little bit of information about the link between running and mental health. So did you find this informative or interesting? Why don't you let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget that you can also subscribe to this channel and you can be up to date on all the running content I have coming out all the time. You can also follow me on social media. All the links are down in the description. You can find me across all platforms under the name Running Geek Girl. Thanks so much for being here. I am so glad you are here. Remember to laugh hard, run fast, and be kind. I'll see you later.